Prince, that's a nice State Farm shirt you got there. I gotta get me one of those.
Feels amazing, man. The quality's really good, man. Under Armour did a really good job on this one, man.
That's awesome.
You can just turn around and grab the shirt off the guy that's behind you.
Oh, Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to bother Jake.
Yeah, he's working. He's taking calls
working.
right now. Okay, just about up to 19 participants here, so just another minute and all right, let's get started. We've got some great stuff to share with you today. So first of all, good afternoon and welcome to what will be an amazing experience for you today. Thank you so much for coming. As Kevin's chatting with you and you have questions, just throw them in the chat session. I'm going to keep an eye on those and try to help facilitate that. My name is Kathy Curry, and I am a technology manager. I work at our State Farm office, which is located in Richardson. Today, I truly do have the great pleasure of introducing to you one of the most influential leaders at State Farm. Kevin ODell is a technology director. He is also located in our Richardson office. Kevin's been with State Farm 15 years. All of those years have been in IT. And for the last 6 years, he's been a DevOps advocate, in addition to all the other things, you know, and the work that you need to do every day in addition to the great stuff. So I don't want to pause any longer because I know Kevin's got some awesome information to share with you. So I'm going to turn this over to him and he can talk to you about his journey in DevOps.
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. So we've got a hard stop at 3:45. I'm just going to warn you, I could talk about this stuff for like hours and hours and all that. So what I do promise you guys on the emails and the website that's out there, it has a link to my LinkedIn. If you ever want to talk to me or follow up or have conversations, hit me up on LinkedIn and we can chat. Also, I am going to put a post out there specifically for you guys, some information that I have found to be beneficial to me through my journey of DevOps, right? So some videos that I think are just really good basic things to help me from a DevOps perspective, and then also some really good literature that has helped me along the way that can really help you be an influencer within your organization, because essentially that's what it's all about. Okay, so again, thank you guys for having me here. Really cool event. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of glad I don't have to really dress up because hoodies is kind of my thing. Hoodies and t-shirts everywhere I go, and you'll see that on my LinkedIn profile, and Crocs too. So a little bit about me. Like Kathy said, I've been at State Farm for 15 years, all of that in IT. So when I was in college, I really studied business administration, but I took a couple computer classes. Also played baseball. I couldn't hit a curveball, so I'm like, all right, I got to get a real job. So I got out there in the industry and was looking for businessy jobs, and actually had an organization say, hey, you took some computer classes. You want to be a developer? And I said, yeah, I just need a job. So that's what started me in this journey. And that goes that far back when you start talking about DevOps and what DevOps is. So worked for a company for a couple of years, then moved over to State Farm to start my career there, and really jumped into the technical side of things, from writing code to working with vendors, bringing in vendor applications, hooking it all up, huge integrations with our huge systems, doing some architecture on top of that, really just a wide range of things. And at that time, I'll say as an analyst, I was pretty good at what I did. I had a good understanding of how systems worked, how we had to fix systems, and how we needed to really get new things out there for customers. I was pretty good at that. Well, I decided to make a little switch out of our corporate headquarters, which is in Central Illinois, and that's where I grew up in Bloomington, Illinois, and decided to venture out to our hub locations. And I actually went to a hub that we have in Phoenix. We've got a small IT shop there, and then I came over here to Dallas. But when I first moved out to Phoenix, I was put on a team with 10 people that were that we newly hired at State Farm from the industry. And so I'm this hotshot State Farm guy. I know everything. I go out to a team where it's people coming in from the industry that have all these great, crazy ideas, right? And man, I got my butt kicked. It was tough. I thought I was good and I got knocked down. And for me, it was a realization of sometimes you get constrained by your organization and what you've always done, and you struggle to see what are the new things that are out there. So looking back, it was a godsend because it gave me the opportunity to go, okay, I need to adjust. And I'll say that's really the time when I really started going out in the industry and saying, hey, where's the industry going from a technical perspective, from a technical process perspective, from a leadership perspective, just all in all. And that's actually when I stumbled across DevOps. And so I started my leadership journey from there, became a first line leader. And then now I sit as a director here in what we call the billing and payment space at State Farm. But really, as I did that and grew in the organization, I kept on the side of everything that I did is this DevOps mentality. And I'll get into a little bit about what DevOps is here in a second. But really used my leadership, my ability to influence and to prioritize to make sure that we're influencing the way that we operate at State Farm. About 3 years ago, we actually went through what we call an IT transformation. At State Farm. And that's really moving from the whole old school project waterfall world to more of a product team centered world where you're really focusing on product teams, delivering small pieces of functionality to customers. Well, at that time, that was really when I was really kind of hitting the DevOps thing with my teams and, hey, we got to operate in a different way. But then from the top down at our organization, we're talking about product management and moving from project to product. Well, really, those things go hand in hand. You can't really do one without the other. So it was a really good match for me and really helped elevate myself to be even more of an advocate in the industry or in State Farm to really have influence over what we do from a DevOps perspective. So that's kind of where I sit right now. I'll talk a little bit too about what I've done outside of my core job to do some of that advocacy with DevOps here in a second. But when you really talk about DevOps, people, you may be going, well, what is DevOps? And there is no one definition of DevOps. You can go Google that right now, and there's going to be like 17 different DevOps definitions from different organizations and different thought leaders out in the industry. But really, it boils down to developing and operating software systems. That's essentially what it is. And that's really what it started out with. It started with the known that, hey, in organizations, we got developers that build products and they're being told, build product as fast as you can to get it to my customer. And then you had the operations side or the ops side that were told, keep that product stable. Well, that's going to work real well when you got people over here just throwing stuff over the wall saying, here, look at all this new stuff I'm building. Then you got these operations people that are getting yelled at because that product isn't stable, right? So it was really the common sense of let's bring that together and let's have those people be the same people and work together to build and release and support software together. And if you guys have heard some of the Amazon stuff from the you build it, you run it, talking about you build your software systems, you run it from a standpoint of, okay, now I know what I'm coding, what I'm building, and then what I'm going to offer to my customer and how my customer uses that software is really where DevOps comes in and the notion of building automation around things and really having that mindset of understanding what I'm building and how it's influential to for the organization and it's going to be used for by my customer. And so you go, okay, that's cool. That's like DevOps. And I mentioned transformation, right? So let's bring all that together. So we talk about in the industry, you hear about digital transformation. That's a very hot topic, right? But then you also hear about agile transformation, right? That's really a hot topic too. You also hear about DevOps transformations. If you boil those things down and really look at what's trying to be done, they're all very, very, very similar. And I will say, no matter what you say in all of those, you're probably doing the same thing. To me, it's the words you use and really the priority you put on the certain aspects that you try to hit hard. So at State Farm, we didn't call it a DevOps transformation. We didn't call it an agile transformation. We actually didn't even call it a digital transformation. We called it an ET, enterprise technology transformation. But underneath all of that, what we were trying to do is we were trying to transform the way we built digital products. We were trying to transform the way that we worked as teams, from project teams to product teams, right? So project to product. We wanted to be more agile. We wanted to be able to respond to customers quickly and be okay with change, right? DevOps, when you think about DevOps, it includes all of those types of things, but there is one aspect that you may not see when you talk about agile. You may not see when you talk about digital transformation, but it's really the technology and tools underneath of all of that to make that happen, right? If I'm an agile team and I'm building product for my customer, it could be a manual process for me to build something and show to you the next day, right? And then you're going to want to see it again that next day. So do I want to actually do a manual process to show you something another day? Not really. And that's where you hear about a lot of the DevOps tools and the DevOps methodologies come in to make sure that underneath all this stuff, we're building automation. We're putting in time to build that automation, knowing that I show you some software, you want to change, boom, I get that to you in minutes rather than a longer period of time, right? So that's really where the DevOps piece comes in. Now, I think that one of the reasons I'm such a big advocate for it is because I lived it being on the technical side of things. I broke so many systems. I was up at midnight, 2 a.m. a lot of my career, the first 6 years of my career, I could say that. I actually spent Christmas one year, good thing we had a lot of snow, actually building an application for 12 hours straight that actually did a whole bunch of production support automation stuff. But I loved it. But I learned so much, but it helped me understand that building products, building software that we give to our customers, that's the first step in all of it. That thing has to run in production. And we have to understand that that's in common sense world of running software, that has to be a priority for us, right? So we have to build that software in the right way. And we have to understand that things are going to break and we need to be ready for it. So under that is really where that DevOps mindset comes in, that developing and operating a system, right? So with that, with what we did at State Farm, which we're still transforming, it's been 2 or 3 years, is really moving to product management. We took our whole IT organization and we sliced and diced it and created new towers and some what we call product suites, and then product teams underneath. And we all really had that notion of, okay, this is your product now. We have product managers now over each of these teams and the products that you own. You're responsible for everything from figuring out what needs to be built to all the way having that thing built, putting it in production, getting that customer feedback, and essentially saying, okay, I don't need this product anymore. It's run its course. We're going to build something else, right? So that full end-to-end look at a product. No more throwing it over the wall. I write that code, I'm going to be supporting that code. And if you do it right, I write that code and I'm talking to the people that are using my system, right? And that's really where you get from that product management mindset and bring that all the way down from all the technology and the way that you work, and then having that agile and DevOps mindset all together. Okay, so that's high level DevOps-y stuff. Trust me, there's a whole bunch of information out there in the industry on it, and I'm going to give you guys that. I'll post that out on LinkedIn so you guys have some of those things where you can go. So you might go, oh, Kevin, how did you get that stuff? Google was my friend. I Googled everything. I did go to conferences. I talked to people at conferences. That's cool. But the thing is you Google, you find a video about DevOps and you watch it. And more than likely in that video, they're going to reference other videos or other conference talks that they had or books that they had. You take a note and you go look at that. You go look at that. There was actually people asked me this a couple of years ago. Well, how did you figure out how to do this stuff? And my response was, Friday nights I'd sit in my bathtub and watch DevOps videos. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, that's for real. And the funny thing is, my wife works at State Farm and she's in ET too, and she was sitting there going, it's true, right? She knew it. So there's a passion there. You want to learn it, but there's so much information out there. And the cool thing about DevOps and product management and all these things, they're working out there for many organizations. If you're not doing some type of transformation, your competitor probably is. And so that's where I'm very happy what we're doing at State Farm. I talked to a lot of folks in other organizations doing very, very similar things, and we learn from each other, right? It's definitely good stuff. But I do want to give you like so I talked about some of the good stuff. So some of the things, to help you guys, when you start talking about product teams and DevOps, you can get kind of pulled away into a rabbit hole of, okay, we're talking about automation, right? So test automation, right? And, all the tests you got to write. You might be talking about automation, about deploying my software out there, things like that. And that's very easy for I'll say developers to pick up on. Oh yeah, I can do the DevOps because I can write some automation around my software. That's all good, and that's what we want. But that doesn't solve the whatever that word is, of your systems, the legacyness of your systems, and them being older, maybe mainframe, maybe very coupled systems that this stuff may not fit into really well. So you have to really approach it in a different way, from just an understanding that you may be looking at building architecture that's actually built around teams. So a team first look at architecture. That gets me slapped sometimes in conversations that I bring that up, right? When we have to think about different ways in modern architecture, how are systems built now to be more resilient? Get your information from the customer and let the customer go, and be okay with some of that asynchronous processing versus some of that synchronous processing. There's things like that you really have to push with your organization, because you've been doing things for so long, that it's things that you have to really kind of dig in on, be very confident with, and trust that the industry has that information for you. So I look back at what we did. I hit our developers really hard, man. They were on board and we were doing the DevOps. The place that I should have started was with our architecture folks. And you could talk about, hey, architecture and DevOps and developers should be the same people, or very close. Totally get that. In a large organization like us, with many distributed systems that we do have a layer of architecture that really helps put things together. But those folks need to be as up on modern architecture and DevOps and development practices as anybody else. That's how it works in the industry these days. So that's one thing I take back, and we're hitting that hard right now. We're doing a good job there. But that's just a thing I like to offer to folks about what we could have done better. But I will say, you'll find, if you start looking at DevOps, it's really about culture. It's building a culture of building software the right way, focusing on your customer. Your customer is number one, no matter what. Being agile, owning your product, and knowing how your product's actually being used by your customer, and responding as fast as you can. So I'm going to pause there. I could talk forever on this, and I hope I didn't confuse you too much. We can always talk later, but we don't have a lot of time, so I will take questions if we do have any questions.
I haven't seen anything come in the chat, so if you want to unmute. Okay, we do have one, Kevin. How do you see DevSecOps versus secure DevOps?
So I actually battle some people on the word DevSecOps. We actually, when we're really framing up DevOps at our organization and what we've done, and which reminds me of something I need to talk about. We had folks that really wanted to change DevOps to DevSecOps. I'm big on security. Love security. We've got our developers going through security courses, mandatory. Also, our managers, to make sure that they are up to date on what their folks are developing, to make sure that it is safe. And we actually just had a lunch and learn yesterday that was actually really scary about some of the stuff that our security folks found. But we had over 500 of our developers in that one call to hear about it, which was awesome. So DevSecOps, I do think it's really to say the security part of DevOps. It's really branded by a lot of our the vendor products out there that do a lot of that scanning of our code to make sure that it is secure, right? And it's absolutely critical to get that stuff built into your pipeline so it's automated as much as possible, right? So you do have, I'll say, a little bit of a safety net, and you have an entity there to make sure that the product you're putting out is safe for your organization, and is safe for your customer. Now, I will say that the other side of that, which I was hitting, was you have to educate your developers on the security. It isn't I just code and I throw it over for a week for my security friends to look at it. We're trying to get out of that concept. Now at State Farm, we're still siloed. We still have an InfoSec area, information security area, plus our ET area. We do have some embedded team members some places that really helps with some of that education. But we are expecting our developers to be much more security savvy than we ever have in the past, which I think has been absolutely huge. So one point I did want to hit on is some things that I've done at State Farm recently that I think are kind of some pretty cool things to talk about. And I want to start that out with saying, I never asked for permission to do any of this stuff. So it's possible to do it in your organization by just having a little leadership courage and just getting it done, right? So there's a concept called All Day DevOps. It's a free, November 12th this year, it's a free online 24-hour DevOps conference with the top industry DevOps people will be speaking at that conference. It's run by Sonatype, which is a DevSecOps organization. That's actually what made me think about it. But they coined it All Day DevOps. I found it on LinkedIn 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, looks cool. I'm going to check it out. And I sent it to a peer and I'm like, hey, we should get some people together. Well, we did. And we ended up getting 600 people together at State Farm for one day. Told them to drop what they're doing. Let's go watch this. Let's go learn something. And it was amazing. And it was amazing because someone came up, actually 3 people came up to me and said, oh, I didn't know that DevOps was an industry thing. I thought that was something we made up at State Farm. And for me, that was just like, holy cow, like people don't Google as much as I thought they might. So we had an awesome event. It was fantastic. So we actually sponsored that event this last year. And we had every one of our IT folks, so this would be InfoSec and then our ET department, even our research and development area attended. We had over 4,000 of our folks at State Farm attend this online free event all day. And that takes dedication from our leadership to be okay with that. And then also our executives to go, wait, you're doing what with all our people for a day? Well, it was an opportunity to get folks out there and actually have them learn. Now I did speak at that. I was one of the keynotes with one of my partners at State Farm. I'll put that link out there. We did the same talk at DevOps Enterprise Summit, which was a week before that. So I'll put that out there so you guys can see that talk we did. That talk will actually give you more insight into State Farm's transformation, all the way back from when we first started value stream mapping, how long it takes to get software into production, all the way through where we're at today, and some of the things that I see on the technical business side about trying to understand DevOps and really bring it into the organization and how to get some wins there. So I'll give you guys that link. I also started a thing at State Farm called Disrupt. This was after the first all day DevOps, and people were telling me they didn't know DevOps was from the industry. And I said, I got to get industry people in here. So I hit up some friends in the industry, Ken Mugrage, J. Paul Reed. They have awesome talks. One of the talks I'll put out there on my LinkedIn will be from Ken Mugrage. It's a very good DevOps 101 type of talk. They came and spent the day with us. And we did another all day event for our folks here in Dallas. Brought in food, and it was great. And we actually had our internal folks too also present some of the cool DevOpsy things that we were doing from an automation perspective, just from a different way of working from a product management perspective, just to share with everybody. And that was a great event. And again, this is in addition to our large conference that we do internally at State Farm. But we kept the Disrupt thing going for a while, and I brought in John Willis. He wrote the DevOps handbook. And he came in and spoke with us and spent the day with us. Derek Weeks, who's from All Day DevOps, he does a talk. He came in too. So we really tried to keep it going with our people to keep it fresh, right? Everybody, you like to go to a conference and get something and then you take it back and you never actually implement it, right? So we've been very intentional about DevOps is our new operating model. When we say that we went through a digital transformation and we went from project to product, DevOps is how we actually work, right? So we've been hammering people with that. Just this last August, and it was supposed to be in March, but COVID kind of killed it. We actually had an all-day event for over 700 of our leaders at State Farm focused on DevOps. I brought in 6 industry speakers. So Mark Schwartz from Amazon, Courtney Kistler from Nike. And if you know anything about DevOps, you know some of these names are going, oh, okay, I know those people. Damon Edwards, John Willis came in again. We had Nathan Harvey from Google to talk about SRE. So really great event. And then we bought everybody a book. The Unicorn Project is the book by Gene Kim. If you haven't read it, read it. It is awesome. There's a Phoenix project and there's a unicorn project. You can go right to the unicorn project, but it really talks about making or having a transformation at your organization. And it really gets in the nuts and bolts of DevOps. So I do plan on the LinkedIn post to put in some books that I recommend. That is one of them. That is my first go-to, is read Unicorn Project first. It's a novel, but man, it's so real. And Gene Kim, the author, who he gave us a little a pep talk too for that one day event. He references a whole bunch of talks that happen at different conferences. So if you're reading a book, have something there to write those down and go, oh, I'm going to go Google that because all these talks are online, right? So then you get a little bit more information on it. Whew. We've got 3 more minutes. Anybody got a softball question for me?
Hey, Kevin, this is Paul Vilker. I'll try to make this a softball. In a previous life, I was in an organizational change management company, and we built a gaming computer simulation model for DevOps. And I was wondering, you mentioned this, bringing 600-700 State Farm people together. Oftentimes you look at technology, enterprise transformation, digital, and what it really speaks to is when you say you go from, projects to products and things like that, it's truly an organizational transformation, and DevOps can actually be an inspiration for that to happen. And it's also a great way for business units and business leaders to really start understanding that IT is a strategic component of the organization. Have you seen that aspect of a broader transformation happening?
Yep, 100%. Now, I will say if we could go back and do it again, I would have rather seen a business and IT transformation together, and we'd be sitting in almost the same seats, but that's not what we did. But we did commit to our business to say, we want you closer. And so we do have some areas that said, okay, you're a team member on that team, and we do have business and IT working much, much closer than we ever have before. And essentially, you're right. We got to use our software and our technology as our weapon. And it's got to be our weapon to win the industry, is essentially what it is. It can't be that just the tail that wags the dog, the necessity out there that's going to probably slow us down. It needs to be an accelerator. It really has to be. Almost everybody has to be an IT organization that focuses on a business problem. Totally agree. And Lisa, I did see your book.
Yeah, we've had several book club sessions with clients and internally. So those of us who've been in IT for a long time, we've lived it, experienced it, and the younger team members just love the storyline. So
yeah, and you read that book and you go, are they writing this about me? Is someone writing this because as me? Because yeah, we've all been there. It's crazy.
All right, we're at 3:45. Any last minute questions for Kevin while we have him?
No questions, just John here, American Family Insurance. Just want to say thank you very much. I found this very insightful, Kevin. I'm just a marketing guy. I was curious. We're going through transformation ourselves and trying to learn, how there's a CX and there's a UX part of it and how those intersect. And I think in the last question, you just answered that. So I think that's a lot of inspiration on how we can continue to grow and thrive. So thank you for all the great wisdom today.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
Thanks, Kevin.
Yep. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Awesome event.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to
the
post. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Brandon, is it just us?
Looks like we still have a few folks in here. And if you are still in here, Kevin, you've got any other questions to answer? Or we're just going to head over to the pre-show.
Hey, Kevin, this is Rod at UT Dallas. I just wanted to thank you for your time and to say Man, you are the exact poster person that we need over here to talk to our CS, our software, our IT guys. State Farm, of course, is a sponsor of our senior CS capstones folks, and you would put them on fire, man. So I'm gonna connect with you on LinkedIn, and we'll see you soon. And if I can't get Prince to give me a State Farm shirt like that, I'll connect with you too. So that's pretty cool. I really appreciate your time. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thanks, Rod.
Looks like we still have Mark Jones and Don's iPad in the chat.
It's not Dawn, it's her iPad.
Oh, Kevin, you're on mute there.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. No, sometimes it's funny, the people, what their names are on their Zoom, if they've done like a custom name or, it's their personal Zoom that they use with their family or something.
Right.
Yeah, I set mine up in lowercase like a long time ago, and I've changed it a couple times, and it keeps going back to lowercase.
No kidding.
Like, all right, whatever.
Hey, you chose your name once, and you're stuck with it.
Yep, that's all. It's all good. It's all good.
That's awesome.
Well, cool.
Great. Well, I think from here, Kathy, Kevin, we're all set. We'll jump into the main event and check out the pre-show. It's already going, it looks like. So let's tune in there and toast to a successful networking event. That was awesome, Kevin. I learned a lot, and I'm going to check out that book. It's a completely different world for me, but I didn't know it could be so interesting. So I've always heard about the architecture and things like that. So
Cool
yeah,
stuff,
that was great.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you. Anytime.
All righty, y'all.
All
See you
right,
guys.
Brandon, thank you.
All righty,
Kevin,
bye-bye.
thank you.
No problem. See you.
All right, bye.